All right, this is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com, and today I'm actually talking not about juicers, I'm talking about knives. So we've all seen, your standard stainless steel knife. We all have a set. We all have different grades of different ones, and some are good, some are not. This happens to be a pretty cheap stainless steel knife. The problem with stainless steel knives is that, you'll go to cut something, and sometimes they'll cut, sometimes they won't. But you know what? We know not to cook in aluminum because we know that, when you cook in aluminum, they say that the aluminum ions could come out and maybe it causes Alzheimer's and things like that. But you know what? When you're cutting with stainless steel knives, the same thing basically happens. There's what's called ion transfer. So when you cut open into an apple, there's stainless steel ions. If you have higher grade knives, it probably doesn't have as much as cheap stainless steel knives. There's ion transfer. So what'll happen is you'll see the apple actually oxidize, faster. I mean, no matter what knife you use to cut up an apple, the apple's going to start to oxidize. I mean, if you bite into an apple with your teeth, it's going to start to oxidize. But you know what? There's no ion transfer when you're using a ceramic knife because there's no ions to transfer. Ceramic is so hard. So if we let these two out long enough, and I'll put an S in this one because it's cut with a stainless steel knife, and a C in this one, you'll actually see that, the stainless steel knife one that was cut will turn brown faster. We're not probably going to be on the camera long enough to do that, and I'm not using any trick photography on this. But that's pretty much what it is. So the thing is that ceramic is harder than stainless steel. So on the hardness scale, it basically goes, stainless steel, ceramic, and the only thing harder than ceramic knives are diamonds. So to sharpen a ceramic knife, you need to use a diamond sharpener. To sharpen a stainless steel knife, you can use a ceramic sharpener, but you can't sharpen a ceramic knife with stainless steel because it's not quite as hard. So the benefits of a stainless steel knife are because it is harder than a stainless steel knife, they say it keeps its edge 10 times longer. So how many people have knives in their kitchen, and I know I've been to a lot of people's houses and used their knives, and their knives are completely dull because they're not knife gurus. They're not sitting there, day and night sharpening their knives. Maybe you know somebody that does sharpen their knives, and then maybe a ceramic knife would not be for them. But for the average person like me who never sharpens their knives, that's one of the main benefits of the ceramic knife is that, it'll retain its edge a lot longer. One of the other benefits of the ceramic knife is that it's lightweight. So, a comparable knife, this may weigh half as much because it's just not as heavy. And so, if you have some problems with your wrist or slicing and things, this might be of benefit because you might be able to lift this. Whereas, this is just getting too heavy for you. So that we went over the ion transfer, the hardness, the lightweight, and the other thing is it's just more hygienic. I just like the ceramic. It's a new material. I think especially in this industry, the health food industry, everybody should have a ceramic knife to prevent, stainless steel ion transfer. Plus, they're just really cool. The next thing I'd like to get into is care of the ceramic knife. So, care of ceramic knife. Stainless steel knives, as you may know, are pretty much indestructible. You could throw them around, drop them, they're not going to break. Ceramic, on the other hand, you could think of a ceramic mug, this is ceramic and a ceramic mug are the same thing, but this is a totally different kind of ceramic. But nonetheless, this is fragile. So, when you're cutting, you should only cut ever fruits and vegetables with the ceramic knife, never any meats with bones. If you want to cut some boneless meats, that's probably fine. But once again, I'm not advocating eating boneless meats or any meats personally. But you could cut, boneless meats and fruits and vegetables. And when you cut with this, you always want to cut, basically straight up and down, up and down. When you're cutting, you never want to get in and say, oh, it's kind of stuck. If you got to just go straight down or come back right up. Because if you go down in, what you don't want to do is you don't want to twist or wiggle. Because if you twist and wiggle, it'll happen like a friend of mine when she was cutting some lemongrass. She was cutting it and it got stuck and she wiggled, and guess what happened? It took a nice chunk out of the ceramic knife, and ceramic knives are expensive, so we don't want to be doing that. So never pry with the ceramic knife, only cut straight up and down, never cut diagonal, never kind of, twist or flex the knife. The other thing is, when you wash this, what I do at my house is I hand wash the ceramic knife and put it next to my sink, which is my dehydrator sits next to my sink, and I put it on a towel on top of my dehydrator. So they're always sitting on top, ready for me to grab, ready for me to use, always when I'm in the kitchen. If you put this in a drawer with all your other knives, you know, what'll happen is these will clank around, and you could damage the blade of the ceramic knife. So, you know, we don't want that to happen. I would not put these in a dishwasher because, once again, if you're putting this in with all the silverware in the silver rack, you know, this is all going to clank around, and you once again could damage your ceramic knife. The ceramic knives that we're currently offering have a nice case, so you might want to just put this case in your drawer and then store the knife in its case so that it won't get basically banged around by any other silverware in your drawer. So that's pretty much it on the ceramic knife. I guess the only other thing I'd like to mention is that, you know, currently we have a 6-inch ceramic chef's knife on the clearance center. So it's discountjuicers.com/clearance. You know, for an incredibly low price. We worked very hard to get a good deal on this so we could pass it on to you. The other thing I'd like to mention is that there's different varieties of ceramic knives. So the main variety that I started selling many years ago is actually called Kyocera, and they're out of Japan, and they've been making ceramic knives for a long time now. And actually, if you want the highest quality ceramic knife, go with the Kyocera. I'm going to tell you that right now. They're from Japan. They're really sharp, and they stay, you know, really sharp. These ones aren't quite as sharp as the Kyoceras, but let me tell you what, the Kyoceras are really sharp for a reason, because when the ceramic is ground down, they grind it down to really thin, fine point. And because of that fine point, it's sharper. But the other thing is, because of that fine point, it's also weaker in durability. So, you know, I've had ceramic knives and I've owned the Kyoceras, and these are actually from China. And the ones from China are more durable. They could put up with a little bit more abuse, you know, a little bit more hitting and tapping, whereas the Kyoceras, you know, you'll get microchips out of the blade that you'll see. And, you know, so if you want a durable knife, I'd say go with the Chinese one. If you really take really good care of your stuff, go with the Kyoceras, because there's nothing sharper. But for the average person, I think this is the best thing out there. So once again, visit discountjuicers.com/clearance.html for our clearance section. And we have this ceramic knife on there for a very good price. And thank you.